Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 13 of our F124 Salvaging Sauber career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live from Monza a few days ago back, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. 4 races left of the season, plus an extra couple of sprints as well, and Max Verstappen, he's going to win the World Championship come the end of the year. He's got a 78-point lead over Charles Leclerc at this stage of the World Championship. Lando Norris bagged his 2nd win of the year last time out, though, in Brazil. We had an absolute disaster. In fact, it was my first 20th place finish so far this season as well, which I think left a lot to be desired. Ultimately, Monza didn't really suit the Sauber car last weekend, but Brazil is a much better test of kind of the all-round capabilities of Formula 1 machinery, so hopefully this weekend can go a little bit better for us. Of course, obviously, we are still planning on doing another season inside this career mode as well, so if you aren't already, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel, because we want to try and hit 7k subs, ideally before F125 releases in a few weeks' time as well. Obviously, this weekend, though, being a sprint, twice the opportunities to score points. We almost bagged a win at the last sprint weekend we did, so maybe we can do the impossible today. Well, here we are then, ready for Sao Paulo qualifying session. This has normally been one of my worst tracks on the calendar, actually, for pace inside F124. Never know what it is, just can never quite seem to get the speed that I need around this circuit. I think it's mainly turn 1. That is kind of my big struggle corner around this venue, or the transition between turn 1 and turn 2. But yeah, 4 weekends obviously left of the season. As we mentioned in the intro, 2 of those obviously consisting of sprints as well. I'm hoping we can try and score points fairly regularly. You know, I think 27 points the deficit to Oscar Piastri right now. I think we're going to struggle to get ahead of him by the end of the year, unless we get a really good run through these final 4. But there's actually rumours of rule changes ready for next season as well, so really just now kind of putting more focus on next season's car, trying to make sure that we're ready to go again in the next campaign as well. But yeah, so far this qualifying lap's starting just to get a little bit undone from us, so we make our way out of Zhongzhou. Long run back towards the start-finish line then. I think it's going to be Lando Norris that is going to take pole here, but as we try and just drain the last little battery we've got, we basically spent the entire lap in P18. And there we go, Lando Norris on pole position by 1/4 of a second ahead of Max Verstappen. George Russell lines up 3rd ahead of Sainz and Lewis Hamilton. Bottas, admittedly, yeah, did go a couple of tenths clear of me come the end of qualifying there. Yuki Tsunoda will find himself in a V-carb sandwich, but still ahead of Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent. 8 laps in the sprint. There is a risk of changeable conditions, so maybe we can take a gamble.
We're going to struggle for a good position in this race unless we can gain some early positions. See what you can do.
Well, the sky is looking very overcast here, and we are meant to see just a little bit of drizzle before the end of the sprint. I don't think it'll make any difference here unless we get a red flag or maybe a safety car as well. But only 8 laps then of racing action to kickstart the weekend. This is going to be a very fast-paced one. Got to try and make moves as quickly as you can. 5 red lights and no hold at all there, so it's going to be lights out and away we go. Bottas immediately trying to have a look for a move on one of the cars in front. Oh, damn it. Oh, Yuki. He kind of tried to close the door and then reopen it for us. I don't think we got any front wing damage from that one, though, luckily. It was just a little bit of wheel banging there through the first corner. But yeah, our turbocharger looking very worn out. So we might have to take some penalties as we head into the Grand Prix proper. Kevin Magnussen there, just sat on the exit. The car's in front of me as we try to go around the outside of the Dane up the hill in towards Ferradura. Tsunoda? What is that? I'm down the inside, and Yuki just decides he's going to completely try and turn across me there. We'll try and return the favour, so we make our way in towards the S's, but no idea what I've done to upset Yuki recently, but clearly he's not a fan of our driving there. I'm sure Hulkenberg won't be a particularly big fan of that audacious dive bomb at the very next corner as well, but I'm just happy that we're still pointing the right direction on this lap 1 then with the way the AI have been. Both Sauber cars, though, gaining a couple of places here, and Well, it's just something we never see on this game otherwise, isn't it? Sauber just very, very rarely can fight with anybody else inside F1 24. Although, obviously, yeah, they did score points back at Australia at the start of 2025, they still haven't looked... They've looked better than they did last year. But I would certainly say they still don't look particularly competitive, as here comes Hulkenberg trying to think about a run down the Esquina Lago. And we will hang on for now. Well, I think, yeah, again, just like Monza last weekend, we really do seem to have a straight line speed problem in these last few races, which seems, yeah, just since the summer break, really. I know we've only had one race, obviously, after the summer as well, but it just seems like every other team has kind of made a big leap forward with their cars. And obviously, like I said, we are really just focusing on next year about trying to be more competitive once again. You know, we're only going to be able to get 2 seasons in this series, so next season is basically going to be kind of all or nothing for us inside this career mode. Of course, very much looking forward to F1 25, and, well, I'm sure if we don't complete this challenge, then we might try it again when the new game releases, obviously, down the road as well. But, yeah, at the moment, though, Bottas really did look like, for a moment, he was going to get disconnected kind of from those cars in front of him. I think now it's actually the Williams of Albon that is also struggling to stay in the range of the cars in front of him. But aside from lap 1, we're just kind of doing nothing. Oh no, our day's just got even tougher then. We've lost the DRS. So Hulkenberg immediately will say thank you very much. Now we've got to try and hope the German can kind of drag us back towards those cars in front. But I honestly do believe Brazil might be the only circuit on this game where F1, or the game, makes a worse race reliably than what you get IRL. Normally, on the F1 games, there's a lot of circuits IRL that really deliver poor racing that kind of works still in the game. Sao Paulo, for some reason, seems to be the exact opposite. Oh no, we're not going to lose another one, are we? Yuki Tsunoda trying to look around the outside.
Let's try to keep mileage on it to a minimum.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need some fresh components ready for the rest of the weekend. We are down on power at the moment there, as we'll once again try and hold off Yuki Tsunoda through those first couple of corners. I think all we can really do now, try and charge up the battery pack and see if we can get a run on Hulkenberg on the very last lap. Really? Oh, dearie me. I thought it was bad that we were going to lose the DRS. Oh, no. It's stuck open. No, we've only got one more lap, though, so I guess it's not the end of the world, but suddenly this car's going to be even more slippery then in a straight line, and we've got to try and see if we can get a bit closer to Nico Hulkenberg here, but I don't think I've had that in a very long time inside this game. The DRS now, I mean, instantly as you try and rotate the car into the corner, it is sliding around. How on earth is it going to feel as we make our way up in towards Ferradura? Going to bring it down an extra gear just in case. So, I mean, you've just got nothing, have you? And, well, this car at the moment then, it feels like it is falling apart. Magnussen trying to look around our outside as we make our way through the S's there. I mean, we just cannot put the power down. So we will try and get back to the inside of the ding there. That was a bit of a day late and $1 short, well, as Martin Brundle would say. But one more corner to go then of this Brazilian GP sprint race. And, well, it's safe to say this one has gone pretty terribly for us. Can we get close enough to Magnussen by the time we get back round towards the start-finish line here? That extra DRS zone effectively will help us out rather nicely. No, we will not. It is P18. Well, there we are. Lando Norris takes sprint victory here by 0.7 of a second. Every single driver in your top 9 started exactly where they finished in that one. So again, I guess that kind of proves the point about what F1 24 racing around Brazil can be like. P14 for Bottas, P18 for us. We're just going to put our load of new components in the car ready for the main event. So I think wherever we qualify, we're probably going to end up last. Well, here we are then, ready for real qualifying for the GP. I've said to the team to put all the new components in, but it's always a bit of a question whether they actually will or not by the time we head into real qualifying there. Immediately, the car feels a little bit better through the first couple of corners, and yes, they have a completely fresh power unit going into the back of the machine, so hopefully we're going to have a little bit more speed as we head into real qualifying there. Of course, surely you'd notice it even more when you're trying to push the car to the absolute limit, but yeah, pretty much always now it feels like I use the sprint race here just to basically work a setup for the car, so hopefully we can be a bit better as we head into the main event, though. But I believe we're only going to take a 5-place grid penalty. The seasons don't really scale very well inside this game, of course. You're given the same amount of components, but obviously less races to need to use them. So, yeah, it's been a little bit weird. I don't believe they also scale either, based on the length of races. So, obviously, a 50% race, you get half the wear if you're doing a 100% race, which is a little bit weird. Despite all of that, though, and the qualifying lap feeling a whole lot better, we are again going to line up P18, but I think we improved by a good 3 or 4 tenths. Well, there we go. This time around, it's Oscar Piastri that will steal pole position away. Max Verstappen again will line up P2, just ahead of Norris and Leclerc. So 4 cars covered by less than a tenth of a second there come the end of qualifying. We have taken a 10-place grid penalty, so we're going to be starting at the back. But at least we went quicker than Bottas this time and looked to be a lot more competitive. You know, another tenth and a half of a second, we could have lined up 12th here.
Welcome to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner, and just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Yung Cao into one of 2 DRS zones will be key to any overtaking prospects today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who will start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Sainz, Stroll, Hamilton, Perez, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Albon, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Bottas, Sargent, Tsunoda, and Mr. Monaco. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, just as I wanted to start believing that we could beat Oscar Piastri in this World Championship, the McLaren man has suddenly decided to pull his finger out, and he's now, going to be fighting for poles and victories towards the end of the year. 25 laps, though, the sun's shining here today for Sunday's Grand Prix. Let's just see what we can do. I got my new arch nemesis, Yuki Tsunoda, right alongside us. It is 5 red lights. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go then for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Tsunoda, I think, is immediately going to try and cover me off to make our way up and towards turn 1. Going to try and then have a look to the outside there as we try to have a look down the inside of a few cars through that first corner. I think we're still side by side with someone. So we actually back wheels with our teammate Valtteri Bottas off of the first couple of turns there. And immediately then Valtteri trying to use some battery to make our way down the hill, trying to cover me off in towards turn 4 there. Wasn't expecting that one. So we get a bit of a wobble off the curb as well on the exit there, but once more moving up to P17 on lap 1, so fairly happy with that one. Bottas again though, a Constantina effect as you make your way in towards this middle sector. Not ideal, but with obviously all our fresh ponies, we can definitely try and make some stuff happen here as to the inside of Daniel Ricciardo as well. Haas looking pretty good this weekend around here. Of course, took pole position for the sprint back in 2022. Probably, the second best day of Kevin Magnussen's Formula 1 career. Of course, following on from a podium on debut all the way back in Australia in 2014 as well. But by the end of lap 1, we're up to P15 then. So rather happy with this. I'm hoping now we've got a few more ponies. We're going to be, a lot more competitive in this Grand Prix. Let's give our first real test then of using the DRS against the other cars in a bit of a train. Got to be careful with battery usage here. It's not that easy to recharge the pack around this venue. So to the inside, I believe that is Kevin Magnussen that we've just got past. Got a little bit worried there. If we'd locked at the front, we could have picked up some damage running into the side of him. But yeah, this car is definitely closer to what I was hoping it would be. Well, again, after the first couple of laps kind of craziness here, the field really just starting to spread out once again. I'm just trying to hang on in the range of Nico Hulkenberg here as Alpine. They definitely seem to be quite strong, so obviously does Alex Albon as well. We can just start to see the gaps opening up. Just a little bit more between each car right now. That was not ideal what we need through those final couple of corners. Have we stayed in the range of Nico Hülkenberg yet again? I really hope we have. No, we haven't. Damn it. So that's really bad for us then. Already starting to struggle with rear tyre temperature as well.
2.3 seconds.
I could be tempted to try and go for a really early box and move over to hard tyres to the end of the afternoon, because I think the mediums as well might struggle just as badly with the overheating. Suddenly now I'm back in the range of Hülkenberg, so no idea how I've managed that. As I would assume that's Magnussen trying to have a look for a move. If we can stick with Hulk, I will stay out a little bit longer. Well, just now being tucked up behind Hülkenberg, especially where he doesn't have the DRS. We are allowing the tyres just to kind of calm back down a little bit. Now we're just not working them as hard as we need to. Yeah, I think we might still forego to mediums. Tyre warm-up here can be absolutely brutal, especially, say, on obviously the harder compound as well. They take more energy to try and get back up to temperature, but yeah, kind of see there's just a gap forming, isn't there? And I don't think any of us, you know, Haas, Sauber, V-Carb, or Logan Sargent really just have enough pace to keep up with Williams or Alpine this weekend. Oh, okay, so I've had the Haas cars the wrong way around. Once we try and get past Magnussen as soon as we can, I think we'll go one more lap after this one and then we'll dive in, as we got yellows out. I think that's for a car further behind, so no idea who's dropping to the wayside in this one. I hope it's not our teammate Bottas, but you never know. I've got no idea who it is at the moment. Let's see if Mark reports. Yeah, these soft tyres are feeling very second-hand as we slide our way through that middle sector. Into the pits will come then at the end of this lap. We'll try and get as close to Magnussen as we possibly can just up in front. We'll get a nice slipstream all the way in towards the pit lane. Just about get it slowed down. That was a little bit risky. But obviously, yeah, we'll see a lot of cars into the pit lane then. So hopefully we can get a nice, clean, tidy stop. It's only myself and Magnussen in. I was not expecting that, to be honest. It was a battle of the pit crews. I think we had a slightly better stop than Kevin, as he is going on to hards. So that is very, very interesting to see. So we try and, obviously, time can be won and lost on pit lane exit here as well. So as we try and make our way back out nice and easily there, let's even try once again with the DRS. We won't have it this time, apparently, but again, you know, we should be able to warm up these tyres a little bit quicker than the Dane will be able to. So he is going to be vulnerable. Look at that, up through Ferradura, trying to look all the way around the outside there. We will dive to the inside into the next corner. A little bit of a risky one, especially obviously when we're both worried about getting overcut, but that was a critical move that we needed to make. So otherwise we were going to lose way more time behind him through this middle sector. But yeah, I'm quite surprised nobody else opted to pit then. I didn't think that was particularly early for a pit stop here. 14 laps remaining, obviously including the one we're doing left of this race, so the mediums should make it. And as a load more cars then make their way out of the pit lane, of course the other big thing is just, can we try and undercut and get a little bit closer to a few more people? I believe that's an Alpine just in front of us as well. That's an Alpine and I believe Alexander Albon then, so we've definitely made this work for ourselves. We just need to make sure we stay in the range. Well, I guess now then we're going to have all the other cars into the pit lane, so we'll get a better idea of where we're running towards, well, into the second half of this race. It's not even a Williams, sorry, it's actually a Mercedes just in front of us as well, so that's worked out really nicely. So we're going to be up into P13 then. There's a Red Bull up into P12. So we are definitely in the fight for the points at the moment then. As, well, I can only assume that's Perez that's come out just in front. So we just need to try and kind of sit in line and hope that this race comes to us towards the end. The only thing I'm concerned about, our tyres are going to be much worse than everybody else's. Well, less than 10 laps remaining then, and both Alpines currently running inside the top 10 here. So just like they did at IRL, looking very, very competitive around this circuit late on. Like I said, we're just trying to stick with Perez, make sure we keep as much energy as we can in the car, ready for those last few laps. So I'm expecting us to kind of really start struggling. But I think it's Hamilton that is the Mercedes just in front. It's kind of your top 7 breakaway. Yeah, he doesn't seem to have much pace over whichever Alpine that is. Oh, here we go, here we go. Whichever Merc that is, I think it's Gasly that they're battling with. Now finally going side by side here as they make their way through the first couple of corners, and there we go. Mercedes has made it by, so will we see them break away? They are definitely going to bunch up everybody just a little bit more short term. Let's quickly try and look for a move on Sergio Perez here. I don't think we'll find a way around him through this middle sector.
Tire pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
We were so close then to going into the back of Checo. Down through that hairpin. That's always the one we're a bit better on the brakes than the AI. Come on, we've just got to try and focus up. Oh, whichever Merc that is. Like I said, I think it's Hamilton. Big lock up down at the first couple of corners. And we will immediately say thank you very much. Then straight up into 11th. And now Alpine running 8th and 9th in this race. Perez back into the top 10. And why does it always feel like when the AI lock up like that, it's always you that they turn back across? They let everybody else by and then decide they're going to rejoin the racing line right in our path. Oh, here we go, here we go. Both Alpines now going for a bit of a duke out in towards turn 4 there. And this again will back Perez up just a little bit more there. I think that's Ocon then making the move on Pierre Gasly as he will really try and cover him up in towards Ferradura here. But 5 laps remaining after this one then. Plenty can still change before the end of this race. I tell you what, in a car like this, on a game like this, you are really, really taught kind of lessons of patience. I know if I try and, push too early, we're just going to have nothing towards the end of the Grand Prix. So I'm just going to have to sit here, watch the show unfold, and pray that we've got enough to kind of get involved right when it matters. Oh, here we go again. The Alpines once more going to try and settle this fight down at turn 4. Perez just has to wait in the wings. We just have to wait in the wings. But this works out beautifully for us when they do fight, because it just allows us to get a little bit closer yet again. I feel like we're just a couple of tenths slower, even with the DRS of these guys at the moment. The tyres, they're definitely falling off, but I genuinely just want a single point here. That's all I'm asking for. Is that too much to ask? Because almost into the back of Perez again. Come on, buddy, you got to brake later. Yeah, this is just now a complete battle. The gloves are off between the two Alpine cars here. I'm sure they're being told, you're allowed to fight for it, but don't let this end badly. They might actually even just be working together to try and keep Perez back. Of course, they're still locked in a constructors' fight against Williams at the moment, just like they were obviously IRL. So yeah, they might just be obviously thinking about the double point stall here and knowing that would pretty much seal them ahead of Williams. Although I say that, next weekend is Vegas, and that's always a great track for the Williams car inside this game. So Alpine, they just know they need to try and make sure they get 8th and 9th here, as one of them just opening up a few tenths of a gap. Oh, I believe that's Gasly. So that is not what we needed at the final turn. 2 laps to go. I'm going to have to drain a load of battery now to keep up. Well, the other big thing I've noticed in this race, obviously taking those grid penalties, is just how much better the battery pack recharges than obviously a very, very worn out one. It does make a huge difference around this venue, as here goes Perez then trying to attack Esteban Ocon. 1 more lap to go here from Interlagos then, and those two are going to go side by side at turn 1. Oh, and they're going to really slow each other down. It might give the other Alpine free run towards the end of the GP there, as Ocon really trying to give his former teammate a bit of a squeeze there. These two have had history before, as Perez again trying to look around the outside there, but nothing's going to happen down at turn 4. My tyres, again, just like they did in the sprint race, feel like they are pretty much shot at this point, so we just need to try and limp them through this middle sector and pray that we can get some sort of a run on the 2 cars in front of me here. Like I said, all I want is a point. Is that too much to ask for? But I think Ocon, he will stay inside the DRS of Pierre Gasly as well, so he's going to have a bit of a defence on the run back towards the start-finish line here. We have worked so hard just to try and hang in this fight, but 1 more corner to go then. Nice and smooth on the throttle, open up the ERS. We're going to just leave it wide open until we get back towards the finish line here. Will it be enough, though, to get close enough to Sergio Perez? I don't think it will. Perez will almost get Esteban.
And so the celebrations begin and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. The wait is over! Lando Norris takes the checkered flag!
And of course, what 3 race victories, a hat-trick of wins, does for a driver's confidence is huge going forward in the championship. You know, they've got the energy on their side now, and it's for the others to try and stop this progression of victories.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, there we are then, Lando Norris, sprint win, race win, and 33 points to go along with it here. But Max Verstappen, far more importantly, has wrapped up the World Championship. The top 2 again, comfortably clear of anybody else. Fernando Alonso bagging another podium in P3 ahead of Leclerc. And Oscar Piastri, despite starting from pole, he will only finish in P5 there. Russell ahead of Sainz, Gasly ahead of Ocon, bagging Alpine double points haul, and we were less than half a second away from some points today. We did beat Lewis Hamilton and Lance Stroll, so I guess we can be fairly happy about that, and certainly a better race than what we had last time out in Monza, of course. Yeah, quite happy with that one. I feel like, of course, with 3 races to go, hopefully we can score some good points as well. Verstappen, 89 points. His margin at the top of the table, I believe, with 86 left available between now and the end of the campaign. Leclerc still in P2, just ahead of Sainz there, but Norris, yeah, building up a lot of momentum at the moment as Alonso pulls away from those 2 Mercedes car. 34 the deficit to Oscar Piastri. Yeah, we just need a miracle late on here as Albon still ahead of Stroll there. Gasly, you know, those 2, to be fair, whether they intended to or not, did work really well together this weekend. And it does mean constructors-wise, the gap between Williams and Alpine back down to just 2 points as well. Ferrari, though, still leading the constructors, 14 clear of Red Bull. McLaren still comfortably 3rd ahead of Mercedes and Aston Martin there. I think, honestly, apart from the battle at the top 2, it's 7th versus 8th and 9th versus 10th in the Constructors' Championship. We're looking pretty locked up in that 6th position. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Vegas Grand Prix.